So I want to dig in a little bit to something that kind of raised my ire, I guess, earlier today. Something I came across in a songwriting forum that I thought was a ridiculous point of view, but also kind of a ridiculous strong tone to how it was delivered. And I ended up kind of breaking character for me and maybe getting a little sassy and maybe even stooping to the level of trolling, which serves me right, fell completely flat, as all trolls should in a just world, a different world than the one we live in, but served me right anyway, for getting sassy. But here's what they said. Here's what the original poster said: dropping an album without a fan base is just ludicrous. Y'all really need to stop that bleep, that garbage. Hashtag music artist, hashtag music artist, hashtag independent, hashtag their name. Someone down in the comments kind of retorted in a way that I thought hit the nail on the head. How do you make a fan base then, you funny heartbreaker? By being nice to others? Smiley face. I thought they did a great job of getting sassy. It didn't fall flat at all. Me, I thought I can add to this. Here's what I said, which I hoped would be taken in the spirit intended, tongue-in-cheek and sarcastic. As you'll see, that's not what happened. So I said to the commenter, simple, by hashtagging your own name, hashtag Cody Weathers, which I thought was hilarious, because I'm always hilarious. That commenter said, no, that's dumb, which is true. If I were being literal, that is, I agree, sir. That is dumb. There's no sweet spot at which you're either famous enough that your name is a household name and hashtagging it might actually serve to coalesce the molecules of conversation across the broad spectrum of the internet into a single point of searchability. Because that's dumb, because if you're that big a household name, you can just search your name. Or if you're like me and your name is not a household name, it's dumb because nobody is making these molecules. You know, there's a reason that the gas in this room does not pile in a heap in the corner, as I'm fond of saying. That doesn't track either. Like, I just can't make this. I can't make this joke work. But anyway, he just said, no, that's dumb, which it is. And then the original poster loved what I said, and then unironically responded, yes, that's a strategy I always use. Duly noted. So I give up on trying to be sassy, on trying to troll anybody. It serves me right. I'll retreat now with my tail between my legs about making fun of this particular situation, but instead return to the original point and why I disagree with it. So, to reiterate, the original point was dropping an album without a fan base is not a good idea, is pointless, is ludicrous, they say. I don't think that's true, especially in this day and age. And I've been giving a form of that advice since the 90s, when kind of on the side, because I was one of the few people in my circle who had very good home recording equipment, and I had a little bit of a side hustle, helping small independent artists and singer-songwriters record a clean, indicative demo of what their act is like, for the purposes of being able to, among other things, book themselves. And though the media has changed, and this is not, it's never been easier to record yourself than it is today, and it's never been easier to get the fruits of those labors into an internationally accessible location, a universally accessible location where anybody with a link can be guided to review it, which is fundamentally changed and made much easier the way in which people get booked, for instance. And also the way in which you can share or try to drive people to market, make those molecules of listeners coalesce to that single point. Perhaps by hashtagging your own name, perhaps still not. Anyway, I think that still holds true. Like if I'd had the opportunity in the 90s to, by sending my CD to this one place, I would get it on radio, or I don't even know. Like the struggle used to be the very difficult physical challenge of getting your music in front of new ears by moving to, like, I had to actually go to Boise and play a show in Boise and get people on my mailing list in Boise and then send them an email or a postcard the next time I'd be in Boise, in the hopes that they'd show up again and the hope that they would buy an actual CD or cassette from me. And in so doing, one listener at a time, ... those little molecules of listeners spread throughout the country. That's way more challenging than today in the era of social media, obviously. And I think it's never been more important than now. Just as it's never been easier than now, it's never been more important than now to have an online presence, to have actual media for people to consume. And so I couldn't disagree more that dropping an album is actually, in the chicken egg here, you're more likely to build a fan base by having your album discovered, or having your songs or videos discovered, than the opposite, which used to be the conventional wisdom. You go out there, you play shows, and that's where the audiences are, that's where the listeners are, that's how they coalesce, those molecules coalesce into a room expecting to hear a great band, to discover great bands, and then they disperse with the knowledge that you're a great band. And then when you have enough of them, then it makes sense to spend $10,000 out of your own pocket to put out an album like Dave Matthews Band and sell it out of a van and make a profit and gain the attention of a record label. Like, that story is an inspiring one, but an old one. The norm now, however big your following is going to be, you can cultivate it for free so long as you have something decent for people to stumble across or be guided to in any of the ways in which you can do that. And so I think that right now, if I were trying to counsel an emerging band, like, where should your priorities be? It's like, get enough material together as quickly as you can to have an EP, and put that EP in all the most accessible places. Like, don't just put it on your SoundCloud. And that's great. SoundCloud's great, but normal listeners, your friends and neighbors don't ever go to SoundCloud unless some musician pushes them there. But what they do is they go to YouTube, and they go to Spotify, and they go on Apple Music and Amazon Music. So make an EP as soon as you can, because you can do that for very cheap. You can mow lawns, and you can have enough money to make an EP. And now that's the keys to the kingdom. However big you're going to get, however much momentum you're going to build, it starts there. It starts with that people can listen to you on their own time. It's never been easier, and that is the new preferred method. That that's where the listeners are. That's where the molecules are. They are dispersed, and you need to bring them together. So, with all due respect, this person's got it completely backwards for the reality of today. Make an album as soon as you possibly can. Make an EP as soon as you possibly can. Post it everywhere. Make it widely accessible. And then do everything you can to drive people to it. And if you're, the proof's in the pudding. If you're a good man with good songs, there you go. So make it a good EP. 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 Make it a I mean, it goes without saying. Be a good band, goes without saying. Be talented, goes without saying. But, put yourself out there. Don't hold back and don't wait. Oh, people will see a show, and then nothing is more disappointing than people see a show, they dig what you're doing, and they say, "Hey, can I listen to something?" Like, nah, we're thinking about making it. I'm not going to name names, but there was a band that I recently played a show with. It's not their fault. They're a fairly new band, but they're not so new that they shouldn't have anything, and they don't have anything. They don't have anything for me to point to. I can't. I'm going to name them. I'm going to name them because they're great, and you should look for them. 4-Inch Door Hinge. Great local band. They have nothing for you to listen to right now. 4-Inch Door Hinge. Check them out. They were so good, and I was so disappointed that they had nothing for me to listen to, let alone the song I really liked. The great song that actually the other bands on the bill called, "Hey, play that first song another time for an encore." Such a good band, so tight, so fun, such a great song. And now I can't even remember the name of it because I can't save it immediately. I can't share it. I'd have to reach back out to them. I'd have to be on the lookout. Think to yourself, do you do that? Are you on the lookout for stuff, or do you want it now? We all want it now. So have it available for now. It's the smartest thing you can do. This guy is crazy. This guy's wrong. # Cody Weathers. Go do it.